Hi everyone, it's Catherine and welcome back to the Art of Facilitation. We are now in week 3, looking at part 3, our third leg, and this time around we're going to be looking at facilitation competencies. So last time we addressed the values, beliefs, assumptions, those things that ground us and that help us develop the stance of effective facilitation. This time we're going to consider the skills and competencies as articulated by the International Association of Facilitators. That is the preeminent standard setting and certifying body in the world. And we're going to, as we have been all along, complement some of these ideas with other facilitation hosting thought leaders. And I'm just going to make a note here. For the most part, this program I'm working with is that I have 15 minutes of time. So in some instances, I'm rushing a little bit, so you need to go back in and take a look at the slides. And in other instances, I'll be doing 2 videos. I know probably next week there'll be 2 videos because it's a little comprehensive and I'm going to need to be just going into a bit more detail. I wanted to make that note. So again, some reflection and application questions that you can be considering as you're going through this core learning video in terms of helping you compose your post. So how do the competencies that we're presenting here today correspond with those perhaps of your own professional association, your professional college? And which of the competencies might you already practice, and where's your growing edge? And what is one competency that when you intentionally practice, you know is going to enhance your facilitation? So a couple of things for you to keep your eye on. Interesting quote here from William O'Brien. The success of an intervention depends on the interior condition of the intervener. As a sidebar, this quote was the seminal idea for Otto Scharmer's treatise called Theory U, a book really where he's articulating the practices of leaders and those of us involved in social innovation and complexity. But it really is, I think, applicable to all of us in terms of the work, particularly if we're working with other people. Some of us who come from a therapy clinical background would kind of see how this works with what it is that we need to know about ourselves in terms of the transference, countertransference relationships that happen, or how it is that we need to be really clear in terms of our stance and the way we present to provide that corrective emotional experience. So going to the International Association of Facilitators, they have several competencies, and I'm going to go through these briefly, and you will have a chance to go into a bit more depth as one of the other stops in this this week's learning journey. So first is that we're looking at creating collaborative relationships, that we have to be capable, have that skill to be able to do that, both in terms of the working partnerships, to be able to understand what's being asked of us, to design and customize applications to meet client needs, and then how to be able to manage those multi-session events effectively. We need to plan for appropriate group processes and protocols. So we need to select clear methods and processes that foster engagement, tend to diverse learning needs, respect the culture, and achieve the outcomes. And of course, it's always wise to have a toolkit of those, a repertoire to draw from, because in the moment, you may need to pull something else out apart from what it is you originally planned. We need to be able to create and sustain that participatory environment that supports equity. That takes us right back to one of our early definitions of facilitation in week number 1, where we're wanting participation, we're wanting equity, we're wanting to create safety, respect, and trust. So we need to be able to demonstrate that and demonstrate good, solid interpersonal communication skills. We need to model the honoring, the recognition of diversity, and ensure inclusiveness. we need to demonstrate that we're not afraid of and that we can effectively manage conflict and that we can evoke creativity. Continuing on, we need to be able to guide groups to appropriate and useful outcomes. Some of those are determined, by the client right from the get-go, but some of those also may be emerging in the moment as we're doing our work with the group. So again, we want to guide the group with our clear methods and processes, with an agenda, a bit of an overview on how we're moving. We want to facilitate group self-awareness so that they're able to monitor for themselves how they're doing. And we want to know how to guide a group to consensus to reach those desired outcomes. Fifthly, as a competency, IAF is saying we need to be able to build and maintain professional knowledge. That's our own professional learning. So some of you may be participating in this e-course as a way to do that, so that you're staying current, you know a range of methods and processes, and you're able then to maintain a credibility, integrity, and professional standing in the community. And sixthly, to be able to model a positive professional attitude, so that we're constantly doing our own self-assessment, monitoring in terms of self-awareness. We're constantly wanting to act with integrity, and again, it comes through in our trusting the group potential and being able to model neutrality. Brian Stanfield is a certified professional facilitator. He's affiliated with both the International Association of Facilitators and ICA, Intercultural Affairs. And he has a really great way of framing competencies, certainly aligned with what we've just gone through. We want to be effective in using the core methods. We want to carefully manage the relationship and prepare thoroughly. We use time and space intentionally in terms of where are we holding these events and how can we best use space to help people feel welcomed, to converse with each other, to meet our outcomes. Again, skillful in evoking participation and creativity, practiced in honoring the group, seeking its wisdom, trusting it's there, maintaining that neutrality or objectivity, and when we're not, that we're transparent and we say so. We're skilled in reading both the underlying group dynamics, but also we talked a little bit about this last time in terms of group energy. We're skilled at orchestrating a little bit of drama. That kind of keeps people a bit on edge, and that allows some of our showmanship to come out. That's, after all, why some of us decide to get into this work. We're able to creatively release blocks and deal with resistance. We're able to adapt to the changing situation, that sort of fly by the seat of our pants idea that we talked about last time. We assume responsibility for the group journey in terms of what our job is to be able to help the group get there. We're able to produce powerful documentation. In Art of Hosting parlance, that's noticed as harvesting, and we want to do that so that we're able to seed whatever the next events or gatherings are. Of course, demonstrating professionalism, self-confidence, authenticity, and that word, personal integrity. So, from the art of hosting, similar but a little bit different. Again, being able to connect and align our inner and outer worlds, and to have the courage to act wisely. So that's really saying that, where does that wisdom come from? Where did those experiences, they come from our inner world, and how do we be able to help that become explicit and find ways to express that? Art of Hosting, they like to talk about creating a container for emergence, so that we're paying attention to the energetic field that surrounds and sort of imbibes our work. We want to create a safe space so that we can be and learn together. And we appreciate that when we're in those moments of not knowing, when they're in those moments of flying by the seat of our pants, that being afraid, having that I call joyful trepidation, or depending on maybe trepidatious joy, that's part of the journey. And so we need to practice the courage to travel through that fear, right? That's again paying attention to the interior condition. So we want to host with awareness, with consciousness, so that we can help people come together in an authentic way. The art of convening. Again, we introduced that in week number 1 as a somewhat more contemporary, current orientation to facilitation. And they have 7 aspects of convening, different behaviors and attitudes, competencies, if you will, for the convener slash host slash facilitator. And we'll go into a bit more detail next. So the convener not only models, but they embody. That's taking this in very deeply and not just superficially practicing it, but really when we talk about being embodied, it's really very much a part of who we are. So we want to embody and model getting to the heart of the matter. So we clarify purpose, we're recognizing the various ways that people can express themselves, the different learning styles that people present with. We clarify intent by helping everyone see a way to a positive collective future. And that through that we inspire a hopefulness and a confidence that a group is able to do that. We want to embody and model invitation. This is the nice sort of alignment with this notion of hosting. So that by creating a genuine offer to engage authentically in relationship with others, that's part of the way that we welcome, part of the way that we host. We want to set the context by designing and making explicit how we're working together, what our function is, what our meaning and purpose is. So again, it's bringing that transparency. By creating the container, that's again that attention we pay to space, to time, to ambiance, and also to the energetic field, sort of the nonverbal vibe, sort of feeling, felt sense we have of how things are going. Further, we demonstrate hearing all voices. That goes back to that respecting diversity, celebrating that, wanting for participation, looking at equity. And then it's focusing on the essential conversation by suspending assumptions and listening deeply to see things, to see the big picture. Often that's referred to as getting up on the balcony. And as a facilitator, often we have a foot in both worlds. We've got a big span, a foot on the balcony as well as right in the middle of the action. 8, what we're wanting to do is embody and model creation. Right, by inviting movement, alignment, expression. So therefore we're able to enable the emergence of creation and possibility. And lastly, that there's a commitment to action. All of the work that we're doing, it's that really learning shows itself through the ingenuity and the wise action that we take. So there's a commitment to that in our work. So after you've had a chance to sort of think about this, maybe write some notes, think about some of the reflection questions, please return to Haiku. This time there will be some additional learning videos, again some activities, some writing, reflecting activities for you to participate in, and at the end of which again you'll compose your post and you'll have an opportunity to read and respond to 2 of your traveling companions, and once again to remember that we conclude this leg, week 3 of our learning journey, on Saturday at midnight. And I'll see you next week, our 4th week. Thank you.